Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. If you like what we do, you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends and family. You can also rate us in the apps where you're listening to it and leave a glowing review. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 342 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Prime Minister of Ukraine Denis Shmyhal announced that the first-ever intergovernmental consultations between the government of Ukraine and the European Commission will take place this week on February 2nd, reports Radio Liberty. He added that on February 3rd, the Ukraine-EU summit will be held in Kyiv. The Prime Minister said that Ukraine expects, first of all, an intermediate positive assessment of European integration efforts from the summit. We want to create a detailed roadmap on how to go through the European integration path as quickly and successfully as possible, from assessing the work that we have done after obtaining the EU candidate status to starting substantive negotiations on Ukraine's entry in the European Union, said Shmyhal. Ukraine-EU summit will include issues of sectoral integration of the Ukrainian economy into the European space. In particular, it is important that all Ukrainian goods must obtain long-term access to the EU market without quotas and duties. US President Joe Biden said that he plans to discuss with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky the issue of further arms supplies to Ukraine, reports Liga. Earlier, Principal Deputy Press Secretary of the White House Olivia Dalton said that the US may announce a new package of military assistance to Ukraine soon, reports Suspilne. She reminded that the US is sending artillery, ammunition, armored vehicles, and critical air defense capabilities to Ukraine. We are in regular contact about their battlefield needs, and I expect we are going to have some more security assistance to announce soon, said Dalton. According to the Reuters sources, the new package can be worth more than $2 billion, reports Ukrainska Pravda. It is expected to include long-range missiles up to 150 kilometers for the first time. The publication notes that the aid will be announced at the end of this week. It will also include more support equipment for Patriot air defense systems, as well as precision munitions and Javelin anti-tank weapons. The long-range missiles will allow Ukraine to hit valuable military targets that were previously unreachable and help it continue counterattacks undermining Russian defenses deep in its rear. At the same time, Reuters notes that the United States rejected Kyiv's request for ATACMS missiles with a range of up to 300 kilometers. Also, according to the Wall Street Journal, General Atomics, that manufactures Reaper MQ-9 combat drones, have offered to sell 2 units to the Ukrainian government for $1. But the deal will require Kyiv to spend about $10 million to prepare and deliver the planes to Ukraine, as well as about $8 million each year to maintain and support these models of drones. France will supply Ukraine with 12 additional Caesar self-propelled artillery units in addition to the previously transferred 18, reports Interfax Ukraine. During a press conference in Paris with Ukrainian Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov, French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu said that they will be financed within the framework of the support fund in the amount of 200 million euros, which was opened by the parliament. France also intends to professionally train 2,000 Ukrainian military personnel before the beginning of the summer, as well as send specialists to train Ukrainian soldiers in Poland. The minister informed that next month the French military will go to Poland to train up to 600 Ukrainian soldiers there per month. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine Dmytro Kuleba said that in the first wave of contributions from partners, the armed forces of Ukraine will receive from 120 to 140 units of modern tanks of Western models, reports Dielo UA. He clarified that these are Leopard 2, Challenger 2 and M1 Abrams. Ukraine is also counting very much on Leclerc from France, added Kuleba. According to the minister, the coalition of countries who plan to provide tanks to Ukraine now has 12 participants, but it is too early to name all the countries and their practical contributions. Many of them still have to make formal decisions in accordance with their internal procedures. Meanwhile, Poland aims to reduce the training period of Ukrainian servicemen on Leopard 2 battle tanks to 5 weeks, reports European Pravda. This is half as much as the standard one. The international non-governmental organization dedicated to the protection of human rights, Human Rights Watch, released a report claiming that the Ukrainian military may have used cluster missiles with anti-personnel mines in the area of the city of Izum in Kharkiv Oblast. As a result, 50 people were injured, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine said that they took note of the latest report. The ministry emphasized that Ukraine fully implements its international obligations while Russian occupants commit the war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide of the Ukrainian people. Among such obligations, the ministry mentioned the Ottawa Convention on the Prohibition of Anti-Personnel Landmines, to which Ukraine is a party. Ukraine also expects that Human Rights Watch, together with its international partners from non-governmental organizations and the entire world community, will increase pressure on Russia to immediately cease the criminal war against Ukraine with its use of the entire range of inhumane weapons, and to return to compliance with the international law. The Human Rights Watch report was criticized by Ukrainian human rights defenders who state that the harm from its publication exceeds the public interest of the information disclosed there. It harms the reputation of Ukraine at a time when it needs weapons from Western countries. Ukrainian Human Rights Commissioner Dmytro Lubinets drew attention to the fact that in the report the territory of Crimea was marked as not belonging to Ukraine. Later, Human Rights Watch apologized and promised to correct the map. Scott Nathan, CEO of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, announced his intention to mobilize $250 million for banks in Ukraine to increase their small business lending, reports Interfax Ukraine. Overall, he hopes to accumulate well over $1 billion in private sector capital to support the economy of Ukraine. U.S. International Development Finance Corporation is the U.S. government's development finance agency. The corporation partners with the private sector to finance solutions to the most critical challenges facing the developing world today. The corporation invests across sectors including energy, healthcare, critical infrastructure, and technology. The Norwegian government plans to present a detailed plan for long-term support for Ukraine to the parliament next Tuesday, February 7th, reports European Pravda. According to the Norwegian media, it is assumed that within 5 years Ukraine will be allocated billions of Norwegian krone. In 2023, the amount will be distributed equally for military and civilian support, including restoration. Oslo has not yet specified the exact amount of funds, but the Norwegian government understands that support for Ukraine will be exceptional in terms of size and duration. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. In gratitude for your help, we will give you access to a series of exclusive episodes on wartime life in Ukraine. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.